Hi everyone. This week we're going to continue our series on kitchen planning. First talking about kitchen types and then moving on into the center concept. So the first topic we'll address is the relationship between the kitchen and the house as a whole. Then moving into the basic kitchen types, we'll talk about open versus closed and different kitchen sizes. When we get to the center concept, we'll talk about the sink center, refrigeration center, and the cooking center. And finish up everything with a little hint of what's coming next week of how those centers combine to form the work triangle. As the design of kitchens has evolved from the early 1900s through today, um, they started out as being placed in a work zone separate from the social spaces of the home. Now it's far more common to put the kitchen in a social center, kind of integrated with and vital to your daily activities of the family and friends. So let's talk about this kitchen as a work zone. Originally, the work zone allowed servants to work separated from the family. A little bit later, the homemaker took over this function and was the typical worker, but it was still common to group these functions separately for convenience. So, using a work center, the kitchen was often placed at the back of the house. It was close to a utility room, another work area, and it was separate from the social and private spaces in the home. And we have an example of it up on the screen here of a home from 1923, but I know that you can't see this little picture, so I'm going to zoom in. Moving on to the kitchen as a social center. In this concept, the kitchen is part of a more informal living space. There are more activities happening in this area, not just food prep. It's no longer done in isolation, so one person is not behind closed doors doing the food preparation. If the kitchen is a social center, it's not necessarily located in the back of the house in a utility area. It can be in a variety of places within the home. Let's talk about a couple of design considerations you need to take care of if you are designing a kitchen as a social center. It still needs to be located close to a service entry to bring in supplies. But access to a guest entry or your main door or your front door might be important to your client as well. Often, this kitchen is adjacent to and open to the dining and the living spaces. This can cause some problems, so you need to take a close look at environmental factors, noise, moisture, lighting. How is the kitchen going to affect the other living spaces and vice versa? Because the kitchen is now open to guests, you have to pay a closer look to the aesthetic appeal of materials and equipment. And you also need to think about access for more than one user. Finally, pay close attention to universal design principles. So in this video, we just covered the difference between the kitchen as a work center and a social center. Now, the social center has become far more popular in the last 50 years. Um, but just a caveat, the work center is still a valid model for kitchen design, and homes are still being designed like this today.